Welcome back to the Convo Couch, my herbivores. Pasta Jardula is here.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Jonny Sue is spinning on those ones and twos. A little bit of a crazy show today. To the Convo Couch. That was me yelling, screaming. Guys, that's the YouTube.
How loud you are, fam.
Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't gone over to the ROKFIN, ROKFIN. Guys, we're pushing this channel. This is another platform we use. We usually have a little ROKFIN kind of group that goes over there. We're hoping to get more. You can sign up for free, advertisement free as well. And if you want to endorse us for $9.99 a month, you can do so. That means you'll get premium content across the board and every single channel, not just ours. So you'll get it across the board, whether it be Jimmy Dore, Graham Elwood, Ron Pacone, Jason Burmis, The Last Vagabond, Mike Sirkonovich, if that floats your boat, whatever show you want, you get the free premium content on that across the board.
You didn't have to mention that one. Okay.
I don't think what's his name. Kim Iverson's there. I don't think that what's his name's there yet. Tool.
What?
I forgot his name. He's a pretty cool guy. He used to work for The Intercept a long time ago. Or no, he used to work for Vice. Tim Tool? Whatever his name is. I don't forgot me. All right, so let's get started, fam, because the other day we were doing a show. We actually broke it live. It was right here. Ruth Bader Ginsburg has died. I think she was 87 or something, close to that. And so, of course, we've had a neoliberal meltdown. So right off the bat, Nancy Pelosi doesn't rule out impeachment over the Supreme Court nominee. In other words, Stephanopoulos asked her on ABC this week. It says, would you rule out impeachment to delay the whole process, use it as a tactic, kind of shelve it, so therefore that we have to wait to the election and see if Joe Biden would win, and then he gets to pick up a Supreme Court nominee. But we know the whole thing that we went through the last year of Obama with Merrick Garland, what Mitch McConnell did, he ran out the clock. But take a look. This is Nancy Pelosi, Stephanopoulos, asking if she would rule out impeachment, if she would go as far as using impeachment to delay the process. Take a look.
Some have mentioned the possibility, if they try to push through a nominee in a lame duck session, that you and the House could move to impeach President Trump or Attorney General Barr as a way of stalling and preventing the Senate from acting on this nomination.
Well, we have our options. We have arrows in our quiver that I'm not about to discuss right now.
Arrows in our quiver? Is that what you said?
Happy birthday to my mother, by the way. We gave you a nice Nancy Pelosi clip,
I don't
Mom.
even understand what she said.
I don't know. I mean, I think she just wants to leave the image that everything is on the table possible for her to stop Donald Trump appointing a nominee.
Well, she already said that they're willing to impeach him.
Yeah, I know.
Clip. Yeah.
But now talking about impeaching him on something else, I guess I don't know what they would do. But they would use it as a way of stalling,
Right.
So, I mean, that's what they're trying to do. Now, the whole thing is like, if it was a Republican like Hillary Clinton, you know what I'm saying, that maybe got the seat and then...
You mean a Democrat?
An establishment Democrat. Well, I'm even a certain Republican might play by the rules that, okay, Mitch kind of delayed it. We are consistent with these laws. The whole Obama thing says when you make laws, you should be consistent. But Donald Trump ain't going to play that game. We knew as soon as this happened, fam, we knew Donald Trump was going to rush to a point to fill the seat and fill it quickly. A little tweet from Team Trump over here. You can hear them in North Carolina screaming, fill the seat.
So Article 2 of our Constitution says the president shall nominate justices of the Supreme Court. I don't think it can be any more clear, can it? I don't think so. I don't think so. What do you think, Tom? Tom Tillis? I don't think it can be any more clear. This can only happen in North Carolina.
Well, he goes on to say, we're going to fill it.
Well, yeah, so North Carolina is a swing state.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to... I think it's going to be swinging right, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
So whether the green people vote for green or not, it's going to swing right.
Yeah. He knows how to work the crowd WWE style. He knows his audience. I'm telling you that much. This can only happen in North Carolina. It's like, who are you going to call? Here comes Bam Bam Bigelow on the stage with a steel chair. You know what I'm saying? That was a funny meme, too, when he got elected the day after. It was like, Donald Trump at the inaugural speech. Holy cow! It's Bernie Sanders with a steel chair, and they show a picture of Bernie Sanders running down with a steel chair because that's what it felt. That's what this feels like. This is politics nowadays. Yeah, I mean, it's like the WWE.
So
Donald Trump further goes on to say the GOP, we were put in a position of power, of importance, to make the decisions for the people who proudly elected us, the most important of which has been long considered to be the selection of a United States Supreme Court Justice. We have this obligation without delay. So, fam, he is going to push to fill this seat. You know he is. The only thing else I had up over here was that tweet with what Obama had said pretty much about he's going to fill the seat too. He's just going to do his job. I believe it was the third one down, Johnny. I probably got the wrong one. But he says the Constitution says we have to nominate candidates for SCOTUS when there's a vacancy. So my job is to to do what it's supposed to do, and he's going to do his job. So just a little quick.
Well, the Constitution says that I nominate candidates for the Supreme Court when there's a vacancy, and that the Senate exercises its constitutional role and advises and consent. I'm going to do my job. We are going to go through a process, as we have done in 2 previous Supreme Court vacancies, to identify an outstanding candidate that has impeccable legal credentials and would bring the kind of ability and compassion and objectivity.
So as you know, fam, the Republicans ran out the clock. They tried the Merrick Garlick thing, which was kind of like I'd say centrist, kind of like, middle of the road, not too progressive of a...
No, he was definitely not progressive
He didn't want to
at
get rid
all.
of Citizens United at all. So,
No.
I mean, he was, you know what I'm saying?
He was basically a Republican.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, which you point out a lot, too, when Fam
Yeah.
pointed out last week. What's the sense of electing Democrats when they appoint conservative judges?
Yeah, we've had a
anyways?
conservative SCOTUS for a really long time. I don't know. This is fear-mongering, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, after this happened, and thank you to all who are watching, guys, like, share, subscribe, share us up. And on the ROKFIN, I see we're going, but I don't have any viewers on there yet. It's not clicking through for me. Guys, going over. So, fam, this happened. It happened out of the blue. We were sitting here doing the show. We announced it. Somebody said it on our chat. We announced it. So with all this comes the neoliberal meltdown, right?
Right. So, so the neoliberals started having several tantrums, and let's start by looking at this one right here.
Yeah, I saw this one.
I
saw this one.
So my whole point is, look, we have fires, mass unemployment, millions uninsured, a pandemic, earthquakes, hurricanes, jailing of journalists and protesters, racist, corrupt police, Assange, economic collapse, and evictions. And the Democrats are telling you to stop rioting, stop the tantrums, etc. Vote Biden. But RGB dies, and this is the reaction we get from the liberals.
Holy fucking shit, you guys! I'm driving in a car, but I just got a notification that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died! Fuck! Could this year get any fucking worse? Ruth, you just had to make it to 2021! Ah! Holy fucking...
Okay, so that's just like a description of how neoliberals are right now, because they did throw a really big tantrum. This lady, Laura Bassett, who she deleted this tweet, and she said, if McConnell jams someone through, which he will, there will be riots. So these are the liberals that have literally said no riots, protest peacefully, make sure blah, blah, blah. Then they turn around and are saying that they're going to have riots. I don't know if you guys have seen a liberal riot, but I've never seen a liberal riot. And Nico really hit it on the head here when he said, instead of actually fighting for women to get equal pay, the Dems will now erect a statue of RBG. And
that is so on point there.
They
Like
literally said they're going to, but like soon after he posted that.
I mean, really, of course they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm surprised we don't have our metro station named Ruth Bader Ginsburg metro station yet in California here. So.
And I just this other tweet, because this woman posted, Alexis Goldstein, we have thousands here at the Supreme Court. Thousands showed up at the Supreme Court. And, I'm just wondering where are the thousands fighting for healthcare, for Green New Deal, whatever you want to call it. Everything, our interventionist wars, police brutality, etc. Like all of this, it's just like, what about the looting from the CARES Act? Where are you guys? Where have you guys been the last 7 months? I mean, what did you think it just got bad now just because Ruth Bader Ginsburg died when she knew she had like every type of cancer in the world? We knew this was going to happen. I took sudden off the title because it wasn't sudden. People were waiting for her to die. This wasn't anything new. And I'm really irritated with people suddenly acting like this is like, oh my God, what do we do now? Mountain Socialist said, with RGB gone, we will see the Senate act faster on confirming a new justice than we have ever seen them act on anything. So here we go. Like, we knew they were going to act fast just because they managed to put it off when it came to Obama nominating Garland. It was also because the Democrats didn't fight hard enough. The Democrats didn't do enough. And
they do what they always do, roll over. And
and yes, are the Republicans hypocrites? Absolutely. Then call them out on their hypocrisy, but don't pretend that you guys didn't try hard enough and you admitted that you didn't try hard enough. I mean, the Democrats later on went on and said, we should have tried harder to pass through a SCOTUS. Not to mention the fact that RBG should have retired a long time ago when Obama was still president, and she refused. So
a lot of people talk about the fact that when Obama was the president, why didn't she retire then? But she stayed in, she went through, and but I don't even give a shit anyways because it's really not going to be that big of a difference. I mean, I think I don't want to be insensitive. A lot of people say, well, if it's a somewhat centrist, conservative, democratic establishment picked judge, at least Roe versus Wade would be protected. That's what they say.
I just don't think if they wanted to overturn Roe v. Wade, it would have happened a long time ago. I think it's a scare tactic used on people to like get them to fall in line on that. Like I just don't even think it's for Roe v. Wade to be overturned. They would have to like. It's already a precedent. They would have to really like go against the will of the people, the will of like so many people, the vast majority of people, and like the pro-life crew is very small. It's not that big in America. It's not as big. People want restrictions, but people don't want Roe v. Wade is already a restricted is restricting third trimester abortions already. A lot of people don't even know that.
Yeah.
So
I saw something that, and I think it was a Democratic outlet. I was just kind of going through a bunch of stuff, doing my notes, and I saw something that it says, "Who is Trump going to float for the nomination?" Of course, they put up Tom Cotton because they want to scare the Democrats.
That would suck. God,
Tom Cotton.
Tom Cotton is horrible.
Yeah,
that would.
Cruz they put up there, and they're like, Cruz, he's going to nominate one or two sitting senators. I don't think he's going to nominate a sitting senator. To be honest with you, but. Anyways, what's this one? Turboline # abolish ICE.
Okay, so this person was just putting how these neoliberals acted because we did have an earthquake here, and then they all started saying that
getting pissed off. You said,
"Look, was that an earthquake or RBG telling us to keep donating and fighting? Donating to who?
I know.
The fucking Democratic Party who has so much money. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Like, and then on the night of the RBG's passing, of course, it ends with an earthquake. The earthquake with RBG saying, fucking do something, you guys. # earthquake. I think that was RBG making contact from the other side. They're making all of this about, oh my God, this is the end of the world. We have to save this. It's the most important thing in the world. And then you have people like AOC.
Leadership. We need leadership from AOC.
And we've been talking about AOC for well over a year. We've been criticizing her, and a lot of people were like, well, you're just, you just hate her, you're just grifters, and blah, 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 blah. Now, a lot of people are starting to see the light as she has continued to push that establishment narrative of voting the lesser of evils. Oh, but she's a Democrat. She has to. No, she doesn't. Yeah. We put her there to oppose the establishment. We didn't put her there to fall in line. Yeah. And what she's done is exactly fall in line. And here is... she said that voting for Biden is going to let our democracy live another day.
That's what Marianne said the same thing, right?
Let's hear a little bit of what she said.
voting for Joe Biden is not about whether you agree with him. It's a vote to let our democracy live another day. That's what this is about. We need to act in solidarity and protection for the most vulnerable people in our society who have already experienced the violent repercussions of this administration. And the reason we need to do that is because, yes, the political middle is willing to sacrifice immigrants. The political middle too often is willing to play both sides when someone dies to police violence. Absolutely. That's why we need to show up. We need to show up because if we don't show up, those people don't get protected. Because no one politician is the answer. No one president is the answer. You are the answer.
Oh, shit. I mean, fam, this is at a disgusting level right now. This is disgusting. You got to show up for Joe Biden for this. Isn't this the same shit they sold us in 2016? You got to vote against the evilness. You got to vote against the... Can you help me out and explain to me which policies were so different of Donald Trump that affected poor people more than Joe Biden's? I mean, I'm sure we can find a few, but it seems to me that every single time I look back at Joe Biden's policies or his rhetoric or whatever he talked about, they're almost worse than Donald Trump's. Like you said, he's the architect of this shit. How do you clarify, or excuse me, how do you justify that Joe Biden is the lesser of two evils through a policy position thing? Help me out so I know better. Is there something I'm missing?
No, there's, I mean...
Is there something I'm missing?
Joe Biden's record speaks for itself. I mean, you can't say that you're looking out for the most vulnerable in our community. What has Joe Biden done for the most vulnerable other than enact one of the worst pieces of legislation in the crime bill, putting people of color, especially black people, in jail, supporting the war in Iraq, supporting... the legislation that removed student loans from Chapter 7, supporting legislation through fracking and oil, saying that he's not going to ban fracking, saying that he's not going to give you Medicare for all, further saying he's going to veto Medicare for all. He hasn't done anything to gain the progressive vote. So who are you really thinking about when you vote for Joe Biden? You're thinking about the Democratic establishment and their donors versus the Republican establishment and their donors. That's really what this is about. If you for 1 second think you can hold somebody's feet to the fire when you have no fucking power in the electorate, you're a moron. Because why would they listen to you? Why would Joe Biden listen to you when you've already told them, I'm going to vote for you no matter what? You have all the power here. You're a fucking moron. And we put her in office to literally fight these same system, not to join them. Oh, but AOC has to because she's a Democrat. Bear. You don't understand how politics works, Fiorella. AOC has to because she's a Democrat. This is how politics is. You just have to do it. Do you not realize that the reason we're fucked right now is because you have said it's okay for corruption to exist just because this is how politics works? Politics was never supposed to be about politicians and concessions and corporate money. It was supposed to be about people saying something and the politicians doing it because it's supposed to be the will of the people. But that's not what's happened, and it hasn't happened for a long time. Here, Jimmy Dore said, quote, vote to protect the most vulnerable people in society. Joe Biden kicked 5.1 million of the most vulnerable Americans out of their homes during the last economic crash. Prisons are full of the most vulnerable people because of Joe Biden. People are bankrupt because of Joe. Fuck off.
I mean, this dude right here, the only thing he missed over there too is this dude, Joe Biden, was against federally mandated busing to segregate schools. So a person of color who was in a poor area would then get a chance to go to a better school where he can use his gift, whatever the case may be. And Joe Biden was against that, and furthermore said he didn't want his kids growing up in a racial jungle. That's what this is the guy you're telling us to go vote for. This is the guy, the FOH, but Trump. Mehdi Hassan, your boy.
So Mehdi Hassan
We've also heard, and I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden.
We got to play this. This is,
I do not believe you are a racist. And I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. But I also believe, and it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. And, there was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools. And she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
And then that little girl went on to make T-shirts and posters and mugs about that little girl. And then she joined that fucking campaign of Joe Biden, who literally she was accusing there of being for the segregation. And you know what? And that is that's it. That's the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, of our nation, of everything. They're a bunch of hypocrites because what they say has no value. So many people fall for what they say. Oh, Kamala did good because she nailed Joe Biden. I remember many progressives. Oh my God, Kamala, at least, she showed Joe. Look at her.
I'm a top tier candidate here. Okay.
She showed Joe. Look how she showed Joe. And then she goes and joins his campaign after people decided she was so awful that she had to drop out because she couldn't win her own state.
The Harris administration. And real quick, fam, before we go on to the next thing, I just want to show, I scrolled through AOC's little video here, and she's fear-mongering here. This is what the right does, this is what the left does, this is what they do in politics. So just take a look at this. Oh.
Survival.
So she said,
whether we like it or not, November's about survival. November's about survival. And we need to work to honor all of those who came before us to fight for our future and to fight for our democracy.
Yeah,
so vote for the guy who literally set us back. Literally vote for the guy who set us back years.
Yes. What policy? Just tell me what policy it is that Joe is better than Trump on. So in the chat, please help me out, Johnny. Tell me what policy it is that
climate change, because he acknowledges it but doesn't do anything about it. So there we go.
But he took fracking money. He said, "Let's see how things play out."
But he believes in it.
They both got billionaires. They're both terrible. They're both fucking terrible.
I'm trying to think of an area that you can say, like, the only thing is the EPA. When I said who they appointed,
that's pretty much it.
But you even pointed out who and Nico said who we appointed for the EPA for Obama wasn't the big, let's go. This is the EPA guy we want.
No.
That's not even an area where you can even say that it's even better.
And just Mehdi Hassan, I want to put because Mehdi Hassan, he's turned into a full shill neoliberal. And he said, putting aside Trump's usual lies and inaccuracies, here's the president breathing a police attack on a journalist. A journalist is beautiful to a cheering crowd as law and order. How is this not fascistic? How is anyone okay with this? I love how Mehdi talks about journalism. Mehdi has refused to talk about Julian Assange.
Silent.
So, of course, when Trump attacks a journalist that's on the other side of the political aisle, sure. But when it comes to Julian Assange, Mehdi can't respond to anybody. People have asked him, hey, can you cover Julian Assange? No, he won't fucking cover Julian Assange because he doesn't give a shit about Julian Assange because he's not a journalist now. He's a propagandist. He's being used as a tool of propaganda to instill fear-mongering in people so they can vote for the lesser of evils. And it doesn't matter. If you vote for Trump or Joe Biden, you are perpetuating this oligarchy, period. Yeah. You can do that, but don't pretend that you're doing anything different. Trump isn't an outsider, non-interventionist, and Biden isn't going to save the day and somehow stop racism because he is a perpetrator of that system that Trump is exploiting.
Absolutely.
They're both two fucking fascists, and you shouldn't vote for either of them. But if you're going to vote for either of them, don't fucking vote shame people, and don't pretend that they're not two piles of shit that you're voting for, and don't pretend that you're not perpetuating the system that is completely crushing everybody in this country.
We just went through this in 2016. Why are we going through this again? It's the same tactic.
The
only thing different is that we don't have WikiLeaks to confirm that we cheated, but we know they did. Why? Because they said it in a federal court. We can go in the back room, fill a cigar, smoke, vote for whoever we want. We don't have to give you who you want. We can pick whoever we want.
And they did.
And now we don't have zero transparency because people like yourselves won't say shit about Assange. People like Bernie won't say anything about Assange. People like AOC won't say anything about Assange.
The entire squad hasn't said squat.
I just want a picture, Johnny, of Jim Boehner crying. I just want that because I want to remind progressives. For progressives who go, oh, well, what are you going to do? She's got to do this, Fiorella. You don't understand politics. She's got to say what's going on with the Democratic Party. And new candidates, I'm sick and tired of them playing by the Democratic Party way. We're putting you in there. We're voting for you. We're supporting you to smash the establishment, not to join it. Just like the Freedom Caucus did. They threw Cantor out. They made Boehner quit and cry. They said, no. I wanted to see Nancy Pelosi cry, and you took that away from me, squad, and I'll never forgive you for it.
The people that say that, Pasta, that say, oh, but she has to do it for politics, they're just standing AOC, and they probably don't know anything about real policy. And I just want to show really quick that I did an advanced search on Mehdi Hassan, and the last time he mentioned Assange, and that was May 2019. So it's been over a year since he's mentioned anything about Assange. And that was when he got arrested, Assange, or, he got the trial thing.
Yeah, and again, the TYT and those like Mehdi mentioned Assange too in collusion with the Russiagate bullshit CIA story that they were pushing. So it's not even it's coverage of Assange, but it's not even real coverage of really what's happening. They're doing it. Well, he had ties to Russia, WikiLeaks, and WikiLeaks isn't the most trusting source, even though WikiLeaks has 100% accuracy rate, unlike TYT.
Yeah,
so let's be real.
I like the way she said she'll look into it. Like, Anna, we'll look into that, I promise you. Hey, Anna, I heard the sun's really, really hot. We'll look into it, I promise you. Go ahead, Fee.
So this really aged poorly, because if we recall back in 2014, people were making a big deal. A lot of these third wave feminists who I don't want to say despise, but I severely dislike, because they ruined the word feminism.
Yes, they have.
Because they're all about symbolic platitudes and not about actual change. You want women to be equal? Fucking pay them a living wage. Give them health care. No, let's focus on symbolic purities. Okay, don't tell Ruth Bader Ginsburg to retire. The Supreme Court justice will leave the bench when she's ready, regardless of what others think. So because of some ego of the third wave feminist and Ruth Bader Ginsburg's own ego, she decided she was going to stay and work as long as she could. Okay, instead of letting Obama appoint somebody way before before Trump came in.
Why'd she do that?
Why is it insensitive to point this out? No, it's not fucking insensitive to point this out. We're just telling you the fact that if this shouldn't happen. First of all, we shouldn't all be like depending our lives on what 9 people and how they interpret the Constitution. That should change. I'm sorry, 9 people shouldn't decide the fate of millions and millions of Americans, and 9 people who are appointed by presidents who are not at all selected by the people. And 9 people these judges, if we're going to go in a gradual way, should have term limits. Yeah. And they should be appointed by the people. They should be elected by the people, not by presidents. Because then you have this manipulation. Oh, Democrats, Republicans. Don't you see that this is all a game as to, who's going to score some points here and there? Then the substance of the things we really want to discuss gets lost in the process. Because all we're talking about is, oh my God, we got to get them in. Oh, the Republicans did this. Now we're going to do this. And it's like, it's a stupid thing. We're not actually changing anything or discussing any policy whatsoever.
Okay. This is the time to realize letting 9 people who interpret the Constitution definitely decide on our rights is not democracy. I'm sorry, differently. Is not democracy. LMAO, laughing my ass off. You should not have to be worried for your life because a judge passed. Please realize SCOTUS is just as oppressive.
100% it is.
And a lot of people hide behind these decisions. They don't talk about abortion because there's Roe v. Wade. They don't talk about money in politics because it's Citizens United. They just say, well, what are we going to do? It's Citizens United. You know what I'm saying? So politicians can actually hide behind these court decisions that are made. Super Chat contribution, thank you very much. As always appreciated on the couch. North American Ape, thank you for that Super Chat contribution. We have to show up, ? When is AOC going to call out the Democratic Party and tell them that they have to show up for voters? What is this, Kabuki theater?
That's exactly what it is.
Wow.
That's exactly what it is. America's great at theatrics.
That girl, thank you for the Super Chat contribution, is always appreciated on the couch. Hearts and kisses. Love you guys. Thank you so much, that girl. That girl, I don't know if we got you a shirt yet. We've offered. Let us know. Oh, Glory Jones is here. How you doing, Glory Jones? Thank you for the Super Chat contribution. Is always appreciated on the couch. Neo-progressives out there straight capping. If they fought for Assange as hard as they pushed for settle for Biden and gaslighted election integrity advocates, we'd be in a much better place. We would be in a much better place.
And if they didn't
right
watch TYT, Glory, and if they watched the Convo Couch instead of TYT, we'd also be at a much better place.
No doubt. Brent McKinney, thank you for the super chat contribution. Always appreciate it on the couch. Thanks, Convo Couch, for a good show, as always. Brent, I don't know if we got you a shirt. I'd like to get you a shirt. I also have a special one I put aside for Glory. I got her some Raider colors. I don't know if she's a Raiders fan, but I got a Raider color.
Oh, yeah, the Islanders lost, so.
We didn't have to mention that on the show. My Islanders fought hard. Guys, my last question is to you out there, everybody out there, plain and simple. What are your thoughts? Will Trump nominate someone before the election? I think he definitely will. And will he be able to get that nomination passed through the Democrats, by the Democrats before the election? Yes or no, fam?
I mean,
45 days.
I think they're going to put their little theatrical opposition to it, but it's going to be that.
You think they're going to stop it?
On media, they're going to look like they're doing something, but then let's look at the vote.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at the vote, and then we'll see.
It's just going to be another distraction.
We'll see what Dems
This is a distraction, guys. Don't you see that this is a distraction? We have real people being arrested for protesting. We have Julian Assange in prison. Like our civil liberties, our freedom of speech is in peril. We have corrupt police. We have a corrupt state in the military-industrial complex and the intelligence agencies. They make conspiracy theories up. They make them up regarding Russiagate. And now we have two idiots who are running for the throne because eventually this is the same shit we fought for. And in the Declaration of Independence, it says that if a government is not fulfilling the needs of the people, that the people have the power to overthrow the government. Which is why William Barr is now putting out this call to the federal prosecutors that he wants to accuse people of sedition. So this is all happening at the same time. This is a coincidence. Things just didn't happen because of Donald Trump. Trump might be a catalyst to kind of accelerate a lot of the things that are happening because a lot of people just oppose him. So it's a lot easier. But think about it if Joe Biden gets in there. People are just going to be dying to go back to brunch. They're going to be like, we got the orange monster out of the office.
Big sleep part two.
And then you think people are still going to fight? You think they're going to hold the Democrats accountable? Even if the Democrats look bad, the establishment is going to do all their PR and all their frou-frou bullshit to try to say, oh no, but this is much better than what Trump was offering, and everything's going to go back to sleep. And who's going to be in control? It's not going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be the military and the intelligence community, because there is a lot happening foreign policy-wise that we're going to go and discuss right now.
There's a ton of shit going on. We have to discuss it. Thank you so much, guys. And a lot of people on the chat said yes, yes, yes. I think he's going to get it through within the 45 days. We're going to have a justice before the election. Like right around election day. Go vote. We have a new election. We have a new judge.
And not to mention, fam, sorry, I just want to say this is the only thing pretty much Democrats had on people, on convincing leftists to vote for Joe Biden.
They're gonna use
Think
this
of the Supreme Court. But guess what, you guys? He's gonna nominate somebody, and even if he doesn't, he's gonna win, and he's nominate somebody. Yeah. This is a non-issue. Stop putting all your eggs into who's going to be a Supreme Court justice. There's so much more going on that is happening, and that we can do to really fix this issue.
It's gonna be funny because. Could you imagine Joe Biden, his nomination, he gets elected? Hi, I'm Joe Biden. I'd like to nominate my mom to be the Supreme Court Justice because she was great, always gave me milk and cookies. Emble Med Fate. Or is it Emble Med Fate? Emblem Fate. Okay. In Nigeria, judges retire at 70. We should do that too. I think 75.
I think term limits. But
term limits are cool. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's get Johnny. You got anything else? I think, by the way, he's going to push him through. That's my final answer. I think we'll see a Supreme Court justice in the seat.
Yeah, and he said he's going to nominate a woman.
You know how the Democrats are going to attack him. Like, who was the last guy? Kavanaugh? I understand the way you want to go at Kavanaugh, but I made it all about that situation rather than going after his decisions that he made on the court. You got to do both. Should have been
all of it.
You got to do both. You can't leave one without the other. There's so many horrible decisions that you can go Kavanaugh. What about this decision here? Explain it. They didn't do any of that stuff. They relitigated a situation that happened years and years and years ago and kind of leaned on that. But the reason why they can't go after and attack them under decisions because, once again, the Democrats are complacent when it comes to a lot of those decisions too as well. So therefore, they can't even attack the person, the Supreme Court nominee, on the horrible decisions they made. That's the thing that's awful. So the next one is in the news. We're going to go over some foreign policy. We're going to try to get some guests on later in the week to go into these deeply. But, you know, when everybody was talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, I was really crying about Stephen Cohen, because Stephen Cohen really, this guy has been around for a long time. He's been advocating peace. He's been doing some serious work. He's a diplomat for Russia. I remember him first talking about what came out of Reagan and Gorbachev. They went in the room. Nobody could hear him. Nobody could hear him speak. They came out, and a week later, or like a month later, they had talked about signing treaties to denuclearize their weapons. So here's Stephen Cohen. I just a little clip on him right now. This is when he went after Max Boot. I remember the day this happened. This is awesome. Just a little clip in here of him tearing apart Max Boot. It's right underneath 451 to 555. I even highlighted it for you, sir.
Yeah. It's there.
It's right there. Looking right under it.
And Trump.
I have no idea what Mr. Boot is talking about. He wants Trump to threaten Russia. Why would we threaten Russia? You've got two nuclear
because they're attacking us. Russia is attacking us, Professor Cohen. Russia is attacking us right now, according to Trump's own director of national intelligence.
Russia. I've been studying Russia for 45 years. I've lived in Russia and I've lived here.
And you've been consistently an apologist for Russia in those 45 years.
Russia hasn't. Excuse me, what did you say to me?
I said you've been consistently an apologist for Russia in those last 45 years.
All right, I don't do defamation of people. I do serious analysis of serious national security problems. When people like you call people like me, and not only me, but people more eminent than me, apologists for Russia, because we don't agree with your analysis, you are criminalizing diplomacy and détente, and you are the threat to American national security in the story. Why do you have to defame somebody you don't agree with it? They used to do that in the old Soviet Union. We don't do that here. Well, we used to, but we need to stop it.
So you just finally...
That was like the little clip I wanted to play, because they were talking about this meeting that Donald Trump went in the room with Putin and whatnot. And Max Boot, who, you know, there's an award that Max Boot has heard of that he hasn't loved. This is the guy writing for the Washington Post. This is the neocons on the left, they're called, whatever you want to say. And that was just a little something from Max Boot going after him. Remember, Max Boot is the one, not Max Boot, Stephen Cohen's the one who said, we've Putinized Russia and we've demonized Putin. Remember, he said that not too long ago. He just passed away. He had cancer. He was like 81 years old. So I just want to put up something remembering him. Caitlin Johnstone wrote an awesome article. Stephen Cohen has died. Remember his urgent warnings against the new Cold War. There's a great video from Democracy Now! In that. She talks about how she learned a lot when it came to rationalizing peace with Russia and all the things in play. And this is a person we really need to listen to when it comes to Russia, families. If you want to say anything.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think especially, you know, losing voices that are fighting against it's the right wing narrative that the Democrats and the Republicans both employ. It's the pro neocon narrative of new Cold War that they're employing, and losing those voices is really sad, because those voices are the ones we definitely need to tell people like this guy over here that this is a lie. This is propaganda, that you spewing these conspiracy theories that Russia is attacking us are the actual threat, because you're trying to foment war.
Absolutely.
And nuclear war would be disastrous to not just Russia, to everybody.
But fam, he listened to Trump's own defense intelligence, you know?
Yeah, right. They were saying all that
they've never done anything wrong, the intelligence community.
No,
they've never done anything wrong.
You should listen to them. Well, when it's to their benefit, for the establishment and corporate interest benefit, they'll go and spew it along, because they profit off war. All of Max Boot's bosses profit off war. The Washington Post has a contract with the CIA. So, I mean, they're pro-war, anti-Bernie, anti-progressive.
The Washington Post isn't. They're not journalists. They're propagandists. The most of them.
So is MSNBC and so is CNN. Propagandists all across the board when it comes to that bullshit stuff. You know what Fox News has been for a long time. So, I mean, geez. So Consortium News. This Joe Lauria. Love him, fam. Go ahead.
So heads of state, including prime ministers, parliamentarians, members of Congress, other ministers and politicians, demand Assange to be free. Among these are some presidents, ex-presidents. And I'm just going to name some of them. There you have Lula, Rousseff, Morales, Evo Morales, Zapatero, Jeremy Corbyn, Correa, Paul, George Galloway, Mike Rebel, And there's so many more. If you guys want to check out, this is a great article.
Not
Just
enough
go down
Americans
through
on
the
that list.
Not enough Americans
Not
on that
enough
list.
American lists on that list
at all. But you can go down the list. There's even somebody. Let's see. There's Jeremy Corbyn. Ron Paul is on there. There's a Ron Paul. There's very, very few people.
Not
but
enough.
It's so many.
Mike Gravel. You could add Tulsi to that list too. She's,
There's just so many. But please, it's a good article. Read it. Yeah, there's Colombian presidents. There's a former candidate who ran for Peru, who also spoke out up there. There's over 100 people.
Carrera, who was keeping him safe for many years. Yeah. Dude, it's awesome. It's a great list. I mean, I'm very happy for it. The Rafael Carrera, president of Ecuador, number 13, Johnny. That guy right there, remember him? Former Minister of the Economy. It was great when he was there because, therefore, Julian was protected.
Yeah.
As soon as he got out,
Maduro.
The president who came in after him was such a acted all progressive to get the spot, and as soon as he got it, the 180
US,
degrees,
US
little puppet.
Yeah.
So that was that.
Puppet.
Do we have any other super chats I missed real quick?
And we'll have more updates on Assange and stuff throughout the week because I know that the trial today came back, and our friends check out Slow News Day for any updates and all the journalists covering it. Action for Assange, Taylor, all these people.
So a lot of stuff we wanted to talk about the other day. We were looking into this the other day. U.S. and Russia relationships, since we're talking about Stephen Cohen and whatnot. U.S. is not recognizing elections in Crimea, and I've been talking about this area. It's a very hot spot, as you can see. Now, when it comes to, what's the word I'm looking, delegitimizing a president or whatnot, they always attack the elections. The Maduro elections weren't good. They were terrible. And Lukashenko, and they were no good. In this particular situation right now, the United States is condemning the elections because they said the Crimea back to Russia breakaway, whatever you want to call it, was illegitimate. It was no good. So right now they've called out the elections, saying the elections are no good on September 13th. The U.S. Embassy in Ukraine reported this on Facebook page. We condemn and do not recognize the so-called elections held in Crimea and Sevastopol on September 13th. Once again, Russia violated Ukraine's sovereignty on territory Russia seized by force and attempted to annex, the statement reads. So you could just see right there, we condemn and do not recognize the so-called elections held in Crimea. And I just read that. Once again, Russia violated Ukraine's sovereignty. This all goes back to that situation, fam, when the Ukraine regime change took place. Crimea voted to annex themselves and go back to Russia. Mm-hmm. They, just like a lot of Eastern Ukraine, have a lot of Russian, a lot of heritage, and that's where the Donbass region right now, there's a lot of shit going on over there where people are loyal to Russia and they want to go back to Russia. Did Putin want Crimea because of its military base and its navy? Absolutely. However, they voted. They had the right to get it back. Now, tensions are heating up, I put, in that area. Johnny, I forgot to tell you about to put a map up there, but no big deal. Russian military says, get out of here, U.S. and NATO flights near Crimea fuel tensions. Now, you can watch this video over here. We put this on. There's no volume and stuff like that, but that's a Russian fighter. This happened about 3 weeks ago. Now, it's a B-52, and we've been seeing this getting really, really close here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at these machines. That's a Russian right there. That's the American, the B-52. So the Russian jets are like, what are you doing here? You want to start playing games?
Oh, jeez.
Watch how it goes across the bow.
Mother Russia.
Here it goes. Now, there's no sound in the B-52. I wish there was. But once again, he's flying across his bow, and you can see him start to look and start to shake because they're going to feel the jet wash go right across the bow. They're like letting them know, this is not your territory. This is our land now. Get the hell out of here. Very, very dangerous.
This is
times.
Inside the American B-52.
Yep. And you can see it just cutting across, dude. It's getting crazy. A lot of these situations have been happening.
Holy shit. So it was just cutting back and forth across.
Yep. That is no, guys.
I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, it's just, what are we doing over there?
That is no joke.
This is the same thing we try to do in Hong Kong, and then we're going to talk about Taiwan. But this is what America tries to do. We go in there. We say that we have to be in there. We saw that RT crosstalk with that woman who was pretty much a PR woman for the freaking military industrial complex. Further. Yeah. I mean, she was just
spread democracy and whatnot.
She did hit every nail.
If you haven't seen that, it's the one with Lionel. I forgot her name. She's from Rebel Communications. She's been on. Oh, she goes on to her talking MSNBC, CNN, ABC. She's a shill for the Democratic neocon wing. That they let her go on all the major news networks and spread her propaganda. Well, this time she went on with Lionel, and it's so funny to see two conservatives going, "How could you say this shit?" Like, she had every single.
I was agreeing with the Republicans.
I know.
That's. I mean, they are the type of Republicans that are less interventionist than this Democratic neocon.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, this is why when it comes to war, the establishment Democrat and the establishment Republicans are all falling right in line. They shake hands and hold hands for war.
So Johnny's going to get the map up because I want to talk about this right here. So Crimea, okay? You got the right spot. It should be between Ukraine and Russia. That's it right there. That's that little land. Yeah, right in there. And see, America's been aiding the Ukrainian army and whatnot since when? And that's that area right over. You can see Russia's right to the right of Ukraine. Right, you know what I'm saying? This is dangerous. Now, the thing that really got me nervous, fam, we saw it on RT. I went to the thing. I said, "Holy shit, this is something very, very serious right now," because everything's going on, here in America with RBG. The elections, what's going to happen. We have the protests in the streets, the argument from what that is, all these distractions and stuff going on foreign policy-wise that we're not keeping our eye on that are very dangerous. This one is really bad. Russia demands answers from Washington on whether the U.S. is facilitating terrorist attacks in Crimea, after NBC reports. So you can see right here, I'm going to read the first couple paragraphs. So this is something very, very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, because this isn't a proxy now. Remember, Crimea is back to being part of Russia. In fact, as soon as they annexed it back, they started completing this project with a bridge that's going from the mainland into Crimea. It's a big bridge, almost like the bridge in Key West, if you guys can imagine it. It's a long, long bridge. So right here, Russia's embassy in the U.S. has demanded clarification after an unnamed American official was cited in reporting stating that the U.S. forces are providing weapons to militant units in Crimea as they launched attacks on Russian troops. The embassy said it treated the statement with grave concern in a social media post Thursday, asking Washington to provide further details as to whether the American weapons were being passed to Ukrainian fighters carrying out clandestine operations in Crimea. Unnamed U.S. officials speak about their country's support of terrorist activities in third countries. In this case, they talk specifically about Russia. The embassy said the embassy said on Facebook, "If it's true, we then demand the U.S. side to clarify whether or not Washington directly or indirectly has facilitated the SBU, which is the Ukrainian Security Services, in organizing terrorist attacks against the people of Crimea." Fam, this is dangerous. It's different if it's a proxy country, right? Okay, so we had a little kind of unclear. Even though Hong Kong was part of China, it had its own separate government that had been involved with the West for a long time. You talk about messing around in Syria, a Russian ally or an Iranian ally. Okay, that's Syria. It's another country. You're talking about messing around in Crimea, which is part of Russia right now.
Yeah.
Fam, this can spin to all kinds of out of control bullshit right now that we don't want to deal with right now. And you can see the Russian fighters are not going to back down.
And just how can Putin's president, be so supportive of this, right? I mean, the idea that Donald Trump loves Putin and all this stuff. I mean, this is really dangerous things to be fomenting. And Glenn Greenwald mentions it later, and we'll put up the tweet. But it's really like either Donald Trump is cooperating with Putin or he isn't. And whether it's him or the military, whatever, he's the commander in chief.
Yeah, this is dangerous stuff. And to see Joe Biden, if he's anything like Obama or Clinton, that clan, they were very negative against Putin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very negative against Putin. Whereas this is the things that I hated when we talk about that Richard Cohen stuff and the stuff leading up right now, the way the Democratic establishment has handicapped Donald Trump from doing any type of peace deals or humanitarian work with the Russians, because anytime he does, fam, it's like, look, it's Putin's puppet. It's Putin's puppet. That's the danger of Russia.
Right.
People have been saying it for a long time. And right here, you even put U.S. is sending more troops to Syria to counter the Russians.
So, yeah. And this is, again, Syria, who we've been sanctioning, by the way. So the development of armored vehicles, advanced radar, and more fighter jets comes in response to a Russian convoy ramming on U.S. ground patrol, injuring 7 soldiers. So this is what's been going on with that. And then I did want to point to Glenn Greenwald's tweet when he said, weird thing for a Putin-controlled country to do. So if we are a Putin-controlled country because it's Donald Trump, then how are we, rushing troops to these with these vehicles and arming these people? How is this possible? How is that happening if we are such best friends with Putin? I mean, it doesn't add up. Why? Because it doesn't matter what Donald Trump says vocally, just as it doesn't matter what Joe Biden and them say vocally. At the end of the day, we want more power. We want to expand and get those goods in Russia. We want to get these control, because if we get control over Crimea, which is a part of Russia, forget it. Like, we can, it's again, this is why we wanted Hong Kong. This is why we wanted Taiwan. This is why we want the things we want.
Yeah,
because
we
want our allies.
Yeah.
We want to expand our empire. This is what it's about. Nothing more, nothing less.
I don't think people realize, and we've been talking about this for a long time, the dangers of Russiagate. The dangers of Russiagate. People always say, Pasta, you have your number one issue, this and that. But what do I say? One of the things I liked about Tulsi Gabbard more than anything, she says, day one, let's sit down with Russia. Let's sit down with China. Let's talk about getting rid of these nuclear weapons. Let's pull India and Pakistan into the deal. This is such an important issue, ladies and gentlemen, and the fact that people don't even pay attention to it, that progressives don't realize how dangerous a nuclear holocaust could be.
You're not going to get Medicare for all if there's a nuclear holocaust.
You ain't getting it. And the fact that they allowed to, and they got behind this rhetoric of the left, of the establishment left, all of them. You know what I'm saying? That, the Putin thing, the Moscow Mitch. I saw that, what's his name said Moscow Mitch the other day, and I couldn't believe it. Ralph Nader. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. What the hell's wrong with you people? Don't you realize how dangerous this is? Balak Krishnas Sastry says, thoughts on the potential deal that Assange revealed a source and gets a pardon. If the source is Seth Rich, it's worth Assange. Is it worth Assange to reveal?
No.
Hashtag free Assange. We've been talking about this. As much as I'd like that to happen, I got to agree with my fams here that he's not about releasing his sources. That's how he does business. Maybe they threatened. They said, if you release the source, we'll go after Seth Rich's family.
I think it's a trick. I think he'd be stupid to take any deal from the intelligence state that is trying to prosecute him. Like, why would you take any deal from them? Anytime you deal with the police or the intelligence and they tell you to take a deal, you would be admitting to something you didn't do, faulting yourself for something. And it's a trick.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't do it.
By the way, did you see that little post that Fam had up, the ISIS and the Syria?
Yeah, I just wanted to, this meme.
It's so funny.
This is
so
what we
hysterical.
did. We went in there. We put ISIS in there. Then we got rid of Syria, and then we left. And then
Johnny,
we
you got
ISIS.
that one you can show? It's in the folder, the little pink one, with the Syria and the that one.
There it is. I mean, it doesn't get simpler than that. This is what we did.
So true.
We literally. This is what we do.
But he should be walking out with like
time and
resources,
time again.
bag of resources,
Yeah,
and money
like
bags and everything like that.
Yeah.
basically.
Well, oil. We should
Just
be
oil.
walking on a barrel of oil.
Basically.
That's great.
Anything else on? Did you want to show something, or you?
Thank you for the super chat, by the way, guys.
This is before the next subject.
Yeah, we got the next one is U.S.
Okay,
UN unrest in Belarus.
So yeah, the last thing is that and kind of close to what you were talking about, Paz, is that I want people to know about this. This video is by Kyrgyzstan, which is they make really great videos, and they talk about the Great Filter, how our civilization, and how about how there could be alien life, but perhaps there's something that has happened to every civilization that has prevented them from becoming galactic beings, right, or community
In this dimension.
And it's called the Great Filter. So the Great Filter, and they allude to nukes being the Great Filter, basically. That we destroy ourselves, right?
This is great. It's only got 17 million views.
A challenge or danger so hard to overcome that it eliminates almost every species that encounters it. There are two scenarios. One means we are incredibly special and lucky. The other one means we are doomed and practically already dead. It depends on where the filter is on our staircase. Behind or ahead of us? Scenario 1. The filter is behind us. We are the first. If the filter is behind us, that means that one of the steps we passed is almost impossible to take. Which step could it be? Is life itself extremely rare? It's very hard to make predictions about how likely it is for life to emerge from dead things. There is no consensus. Some scientists think it develops everywhere where the conditions are right. The filter is ahead of us. Plenty of others died already. A great filter before us is orders of magnitude more dangerous than anything we encountered so far. Even if a major disaster killed most of us or threw us back thousands of years, we would survive and recover. And if we can recover, even if it takes 1,000,000 years, then it's not a great filter, but just a roadblock to an eventual galactic civilization. On universal timescales, even millions of years are just...
It's in there. It's in there somewhere about nukes being one of the filter.
I like the artwork in this too as well. It's kind of cool. It's very entertaining, and I love videos like this because you can learn so much off a what is it, a 9-minute video?
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny, can you put that in the chat to make sure people can go watch that stuff? Because I know people are going to be saying they want to see that.
Basically, every civilization has in this universe has pretty much succumbed to several things. It could be climate catastrophe. It could be also
exactly. It could be climate catastrophe,
it could be nukes.
And then Fred Hampton's Ghost in the chat says we're in a filter process right now. With communism, we can become full humans. Exactly. That's exactly
it's
right.
basically
it's the truth, because communism in theory is great, you know.
Community.
Because it hasn't been applied in real life. The type of communism that people have seen applied is not the communism that is the ideal.
Well, if an alien comes and gives me Superman powers, I'll make sure that communism is enacted throughout the whole country. And I'll make sure we do it. All right, unrest in Belarus, right? Because we've been talking about this too as well. Because Belarus, just to give you a little bit of update, last week we had Lukashenko and Putin. They came in and met. Remember, we talked to Ben Norton. Ben Norton says Lukashenko will meet with Putin eventually. He knows where his bread is buttered. 100% right. However, the West still won't recognize Lukashenko's election win. Protests are still going on, both anti-government and pro-government. I got to say the anti-government's a little bit younger, obviously, whatnot. Almost kind of like the Hong Kong thing. But the West is still believed to be involved in fueling the NGOs in there through media, through the whole kind of George Soros kind of way, the NED, that kind of thing. We get money in there. Now, the question is, and we talked a little bit this earlier about recognizing the elections. That's how they always do it. They always try to delegitimize the elections. He's not the rightful owners. The ruler. He cheated his elections. His elections are no good. And, you know, they can say openly they can cheat ours and get away with it and stuff. But that's the way they always delegitimize. They say it's not legitimate results. So I pulled up this article from last week. I didn't get a chance to look at this here and stuff. It says declaring elections illegitimate by rejecting to send observers. So what the West did, fam, is they got ahead of this, okay? Instead of even sending in the observers, they refused to send them. They said that he was a little bit too late. In other words, and I'm going to just go down to that little comment over there. Belarus had, as usual, expected the OSCE, Office of Democratic Institutions for Human Rights, to send election observers for the August 9th election. But the OSCE preemptively announced that it would not do so because an invitation was allegedly too late. So what they're trying to say is that the fact is that they can't get there. It was too late. And, you know, he argued that it's like, no, they should have been ready to rock and roll. They've had observers in every single elections before. You know, Lukashenko has had them before, whatnot. So what they did is they tried to pull a tactic and said, oh, they couldn't go too late. And they still went and said, these elections are illegitimate. They're not legitimate. They're no good. You know, therefore, they can use that same type of narrative to put it out there. The West does not want Lukashenko to stay in power. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, hopefully with Mark Svoboda. We get him back on the show. But this is something to just take a look at. So, fam, once again, they used a different tactic this time. Instead of saying, because they know if they sent these observers, okay, that they would have to somehow cheat or get caught cheating, whatnot, to try to say that these elections weren't legitimate. Lukashenko and his regime are claiming that he won by 80%. There were no observers in there, so we don't know. But before in the past, Why did they use this tactic right now? I don't know. We saw this for months coming, that they were planning a revolution in there, another color revolution. They still haven't quit. They still haven't stopped trying. There's still people in the streets.
We're the observers in the United States.
I know, right?
So that's why people are like, well, isn't this the same thing as a protest here? No, it's not, because nobody, like, the CIA isn't fomenting. They don't want these protests to happen. They're literally imprisoning people. This, like, when they put journalists and protesters in jail, when we have political prisoners, that's because it's real. When we go in other countries and we're funneling money and fomenting these types of color revolutions, that's when you know that, yes, while there are a lot of people that don't want that, the U.S. is helping meddle because we want, again, an allied type of government.
John Moore Jr. there. I'm a Democratic communist, and I'm still waiting on y'all. And I can explain that even. I get you, John. I promise you.
Can we get the fan? Yeah.
I promise you, John. We're going to get to you. There's a lot of stuff going on. So, anyways, yes. Also, China, right? China holds military exercises. This is the tensions in Taiwan, ladies and gentlemen. So we saw what happened with Hong Kong. Hong Kong was a little bit of a different situation. Hong Kong's government wasn't as stable as Taiwan's government. They actually have more of a functioning government, less poverty, less people in the streets, whatnot. There was a lot more actual suffering going on in Hong Kong that kind of led and was used to the NGO's advantage to kind of tweak it to be anti-Beijing, rather than look inward and say, hey, man, we have the biggest inequality, bigger than the United States, Hong Kong. We have people living in the streets. You're failing us. They were able to sway those tensions. Now, China is kind of pissed off. They've kind of mentioned and looked, and they see what's going on. The U.S. is sticking its nose in. China has been holding military, drills all over the Taiwan Straits. They even fired a missile over Taiwan into the ocean. Johnny, if you can put up that next article, because it gets scary right here. The U.S. plans on one of the largest deals to Taiwan, drawn closer to Taipei amid tensions with China, where the Trump administration is poised to make a $7 billion arms deal to Taiwan. Now, this is the part right now here. Look, this is the part where you talk about the foreign policy of Donald Trump sucking. He's going to get away with the anti-China stuff because the anti-China stuff has been fomented. It's out there. Even in that video we watched, he said, Joe Biden will never mention China.
Even though Joe Biden has sent he said he would send ships.
75% of the is to the South China Sea, he said. Yeah. The weaponry. Now, what the U.S. has always done, they've triculated weapon sales to Taiwan. A little bit here, a little bit over there. Nothing that Beijing would get pissed off, but now they're coming with $7 billion and going, here you go. So China is like, Beijing is like, the F you're going to do that. We're sticking our nose in. We're causing a problem. This is part of the separatist movement where they want to geopolitically go after China. This is what they're doing. They are playing with fire because that weaponry would include cruise missiles, mines, and other hardware, as well as a $400 million worth of MQ-9B Reaper drones.
Obama's favorite.
There we are. $7 billion deal would be toppling roughly $15 billion in arms sold to the country during the Trump administration. So it was $14 billion over the Obama's whole administration, but right now we're going to get to $15 billion in the first term. Obviously, that thought process of moving from being so anti-Russia, which once again, Fiorella just put it out. Trump is not nice to Russia. So look what's going on. Right? There's geopolitical ramifications. He's fucking with Russia, but he's also concentrated a lot on going against anti-China, anti-Beijing, and this is really fueling the problem over here. I'd like to get a hold of Danny Haifong to see what he has to say about this situation, give us a little bit more insight. I've been looking at Carl Zha, looking about the history of Taiwan. Ladies and gentlemen, this is something we have to look at right now because even though we're not paying attention to these particular foreign policy situations, Donald Trump is trying to amp these up in a nationalistic kind of way to show that he can help himself out for the elections as well. Right. I believe that's part of the whole plan as well. Not just the fact that the neocons want to take on China, and he wants to take on China.
They both want to take on China.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be a power move is if Taiwan actually teamed up with China after getting this arms sales.
Well, but there's too much business involved right there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of westernized business. I remember when I worked at Dave & Buster's, I almost went to Taipei, Taiwan with the group because they wanted me to go with them. You know what I'm saying? They were doing business, westernized business is involved in Taiwan. So I don't think their elites and their government would just simply, and they had been anti-Beijing for a long time. These are very serious situations. Remember when these deals were made in the 80s, China was poor, it was nothing. Now it's a big economic and military power.
We still think we have, we'll talk about that more. We still think we're still bullying people, but those days are coming to an end.
Glory Jones says, condolences to your Islanders, Pasta. Must suck not having your team still playing. I mean, I don't know what that's like, though, but hang in there. Fine with your Miami Heat. Your Miami Heat are going to lose to
Miami
LeBron,
Heat. Go
LeBron
Miami
James
Heat.
and the Lakers. I can't believe them.
Go Lakers. I like both.
I hate all the teams that are in there. The Celtics, the Heat, the Lakers, and the Nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like the
because you like all the loser
Celtics.
teams. I hate the Celtics, so I will say
our boy Zach is going, come on!
I hate any Boston team. I hate.
Let me tell you something. The Boston and Miami, they have two great young coaches, two awesome coaches, so I'm kind of excited for that they were able to get past Milwaukee, both teams, and play where they're playing. A lot of people said that when Boston lost Kyrie Irving, it was done, but no. And Spoelstra for Miami. I'm very excited for you guys. Congratulations, Glory. You suck for rubbing it in my face. The Islanders went far.
Go Glory.
Mocracy says, do you agree with Cenk, Hillary Clinton as SCOTUS? No, he did not say that. Did he not? No, don't tell me he said that.
If you find where he said that, send it to me so I can
God.
roast him. Because he's a moron.
Oh, he did not say that.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know why I did that. But anyways, guys, that's it. That was that for the foreign policy situation. We're going to dive more into these things. Taiwan, something to play
attention to. It wasn't it for the foreign policy situation. Because we have Iran.
Section.
So this is the U.S. has falsely the U.S. falsely claims that the UN reinstated the Iran sanctions and now claims Iran has material for a nuclear bomb. We have been saying that Iran is dangerous for a long time now, like for literally like forever, since like the 70s.
Yeah, we had noticed that today.
Wait, you put this in there?
That was just a quick video, real quick, of Pompeo just talking 44 seconds about the sanctions, just kind of backing up what you're saying. You said it
over the weekend, the U.S. effort to restore virtually all previously terminated UN sanctions on the Islamic Republic of Iran, including the arms embargo, pursuant to UN Security Council Resolution 2231. The Trump administration has always been honest about what the Iranian regime really is. A radical revolutionary and the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism and anti-Semitism. President Trump understood that the JCPOA was an abject failure. It didn't bring Iran into the community of nations or block Tehran's path to a nuclear weapon.
I like his tie, fan.
Okay, so the United States is going to slap sanctions on over 24 targets tied to Iran arms on Monday. This is part of Trump's effort to limit Tehran's regional interference. And they say the U.S. officials say that Iran would have enough fissile material for nuclear bombs by the end of this year. So fissile. So they said that they're doing this fear mongering to kind of foment this war because this is getting really bad, especially when you go along with the sanctions. And as you heard Pompeo talk about the sanctions, this is what the sanctions have done so far, though. And I wanted to point this out because Nicole Alexander Fisher posted this. The latest U.S. sanctions slapped onto Syria have caused a major gasoline shortages. Gasoline distribution is cut by 35%. Syrian oil fields are in the hands of U.S.-backed Kurds. Iran, who also used to send Syria oil, is now under pressure from U.S. sanctions. So when you sanction Iran, you guys, you're not just sanctioning Iran. You're also affecting Syria, who you are also sanctioning. And so we are seeing these allyships form. We are seeing Iran, Syria, Russia, China. And then on the other end, you're seeing U.S. and their allies. However, the UN is really upset with the U.S. right now because of the hypocrisy of our government and how specifically the military-industrial complex and how we have handled the Iran nuclear deal. So I just wanted to do a little quick summary of what has happened in regard to these sanctions, because as of this morning, the U.S. unilaterally snaps back Iran sanctions, and they claim that the UN is also backing them, even though the UN has actually said the opposite. These sanctions were lifted under the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which is also known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Trump pulled the U.S. out of the deal in 2018. Yeah. Okay, so France, Germany, and the UK are unhappy with the U.S., saying that the U.S. dissolved this, so the restoring the sanctions is legally void. So because we dissolved the Iran nuclear deal, then this has it's a moot point. It has no hold. So the UN Security Council has not taken any actions to restore sanctions on Iran. So the UN is claiming that no, this is not okay. We haven't taken any actions to restore the sanctions on Iran. And then the Russian Foreign Ministry claims that the U.S. is pressuring the UN with aim at turning it into a tool of the United States, bullying them as well. And Iran also says that the U.S. is bullying because of their power in markets, but they also vow retaliation. And then many Iranians have spoken about how the U.S. used to hold all this power in the markets, and they can go around bullying people and they can get away with it. But now China has risen as another superpower. So a lot of people aren't just being like, oh, okay, the U.S. says it, so we're going to do it. The U.S. is feeling a lot of pushback from what's going on. And this situation could easily lead to heightened military action. The U.S. is right now in 2020 saying that we have weapons of mass. In Iraq, when they said it in 2001, they said that there were weapons of mass destruction. The same thing is happening in 2020 in regards to Iran. That's the same exact thing is happening. And it's scary because, again, nuclear war is one of the things that we don't really look at because it's so far removed. Its foreign policy is so far away from us. But really, if anything were to happen, our economy goes down because we don't have a system anymore. We don't have this type of system, and the people suffer. The working people suffer. The people in Iran suffer. The people in Syria suffer. It's only these oligarchs that are fighting these wars.
All right, let's talk about something here, fam. Before we pull up the Chang thing real quick, because I know we're kind of going over right now. We've been 72 minutes, but I've been hoping and wondering and praying. I had a dream one day that Maduro said, "You know what, Donald Trump, I'll give you all the oil. Take it. You just give us money and you give us funding for green energy." Currents, wind, solar. Why doesn't the Middle East and some of these countries that are always under attack of the United States, and maybe there's an answer, why don't they invest heavily into renewable energy, like and get away from fossil fuels?
Well, they're getting
themselves?
Sanctioned?
I don't know. Maybe they can find out a way to do. For over the couple years, because all this talk about all the fight between power always has to do with oil, right? And we should be getting off fossil fuels anyways. So I don't know. I'm just kind of fishing for an answer because I did have that dream that Maduro would say, you know what, we're going to use currents. We're on the water here. Mm-hmm. We're going to use currents. We're going to use solar. We're going to power grid our whole country with renewables, and we'll give you guys all the oil.
Do you think the United States would let them?
No, I think they would bomb their fucking facilities if they tried.
That's the thing.
But at least put it up there and say, okay, you know what I'm saying?
We're the bully of the world.
Get the Chinese to fund it. The Chinese funded that dam in Ethiopia. I don't know. I'm just thinking about something because it really, to tell you the truth, more than anything, I would always hoped that we would be moving away from fossil fuels right now. And a lot of these fights and everything that's going on when it comes to Saudi Arabia and Aramco and the bombing of Iran and taking away the oil from Syria has to do with fossil fuels. When the hell can we move away and get away from them? And
I just want to point out, I don't know if you can go to my Twitter. This is what I was trying to say earlier, is we use the same tactics of saying these countries in the Middle East have weapons of some sort, that they are a threat to our democracy. Yeah. And that's what that lady was saying in that interview. She was saying, oh, well, we have to be there. Our presence is there. It's absolutely necessary.
Otherwise, a power vacuum. You want a power vacuum? Yeah. And they were laughing. Peter Lavelle, who's a Republican, a conservative, goes, oh, my God. And even Lionel was like, you're a master of simplification. You have every single trope, every bumper sticker thing you can get out there. The nerve of you to do this here is crazy. That's my Lionel.
No, I mean, he was right. I didn't like his whole climate change, climate change denial thing. But other than that, he was right. Okay, so this is a tweet I wanted to point out because,
by the way, you were talking about they always threaten people the way they say they can be dangerous and whatnot. Pompeo even said anti-Semitism in that whole thing about Iran sanctions. In other words, just labeling the whole country as a bunch of hating Jew people. And they used to have a lot of Jewish people inside of Iran. I think a lot of Jews have moved for the tension, but it's tension we fomented. So
fomented. Yeah. And so, yeah, I was just saying, in 2020's Iran has enough material to make a nuclear bomb. As 2002's Iran has weapons of mass destruction. Do you finally get it, America?
That's a great tweet.
You definitely get it.
No wonder why you got 2.5. You got 2.5001 now from me. Oh.
Well, because this is the same strategy we use time and time again to get people to say, okay, well, we need to go and protect democracy. And people still don't get it. People are still saying, well, what? Maybe Iran needs to be sanctioned because, you know, we need to protect democracy. You're literally regurgitating a narrative. You don't even know what you're talking about. It's the same bullshit strategy that they keep saying over and over and over again.
Christopher Dobby, thank you for the super chat contribution. Says, Swift, you get locked out.
Oh, sorry.
I can't. You get locked out of that. It's over.
Of what?
You get locked out of that. It's over.
It's a quote from something. I don't know.
Whee!
Right.
Fam.
So, yeah. So, fam, that was it. That was the show.
We got to go to Johnny. Johnny, what do you got? Because if we're going to do something good like you did last time,
in the news,
this edition thing, I got to get a thumbnail made. So, what do we got over here?
So the person who did the super chat before was talking about Shank with Hillary Clinton or something.
Yeah.
So this is what he said. He said, so he was replying to Ryan Sturrock, who said, Hillary Clinton lays out strategy to keep Ginsburg's seat vacant on MSNBC. Win over GOP senators on principle, pressure GOP senators in tight re-election bids, procedural obstacles in Senate. All of these things, you know, may be difficult, but let's go down fighting. So Shank says, I hate the assumption of going down while fighting. How about we plan to win? Number 1 on her list is hilarious. Number 3 is only realistic option. 3, only other thing we can and should threaten is to expand the court and put Hillary Clinton on it. Put the fear of God in them. No joke.
Shank is such an idiot. Shank, you've become an idiot.
It doesn't even make sense.
Shank, I mean, no, but we threatened to expand the court and put Hillary Clinton on
the
it.
fear of God?
I mean,
that's the fear. It's the fear of the queen of warmongers. It's not the fear of God. It's the fear of the military-industrial complex.
What happened to you?
It's already really bad. You want to make it worse?
Oh my God!
Money. That's what happened.
You know, there was something I was gonna show too. Like I think on one of those on Pompeo's on the video I put in there of Pompeo. The one that Fiorella already had in the tweet that I screwed up on.
Yeah.
But if you look at that for a second, I just want to show you because it makes me happy that people are catching on. What was the ratio?
Over the weekend, the U.S. effort to
from
that one right
published
there,
from RT. Let's see.
63 up, 174 down. People are catching on to Pompeo's bullshit, man.
And TYT's bullshit too, because remember we saw the down dislikes.
The bullshit in general.
I don't think we've
people
ever
are catching
had
on to the bullshit.
a negative ratio ever.
John, why did you
on
do
any
that?
of our videos?
Don't do that.
Jinx does. Knock on wood, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't get a negative ratio. I also told some people today that they can get some shirts. If you haven't got a shirt, hit us up.
Real quick, fans.
Yeah.
I want to show y'all. Medea was live 3 hours ago. Medea Benjamin. Caravan outside Mitch McConnell's house in Washington, D.C.
He's saying that it's because the Senate, they didn't have the Senate last time, and
last
blah,
time
blah, blah.
it was a Democratic president, and then it was a Republican Senate.
Here in Washington,
I'm
D.C.
saying if it's a Republican president and a Republican Senate, therefore, look at my Kentucky lips. You then appoint somebody.
And my Kentucky turkey neck.
And you don't care what Nancy Pelosi and the ludicrous Democratic communists want to do. All right?
You got to make your chin disappear.
Yeah.
But basically, I don't know. Let's hear what she says.
The Capitol is over there, and people are socially distant. Across the street, in front, over here, they're also writing with chalk, asking Mitch McConnell to respect Ruth Bader Ginsburg, do the right thing, love your neighbor.
You think Mitch McConnell's going to listen to you guys?
Well, at least they know where they live, where he lives, right?
Yeah, Medea knows because of you. She's always there when it comes to foreign policy stuff,
war stuff. Yeah, I saw a couple war.
Yeah. She's
signs
great
up
at
there.
that stuff.
Anti-war
She's good
stuff.
friends of Kevin Zeese, too, as well. You know what I'm saying? We have news here on The Wire, fam. Medea Benjamin versus Cenk Uygur in UFC 2020. Nice try, Pij. I wish it would happen. And he called him... Yeah. Anyways, that's that. I love you, Bubba. And thank you for all over in the ROKFIN. Johnny, anything else?
Super chats from Glory Jones.
Oh, my God. Is she going to make fun of my Islanders again? Jesus. Mike, we lied, we cheated, we stole Pompeo. we used to have classes there to teach us how to cheat. You know what I'm saying? The CIA don't cheat. Come on. I mean, he sits there and a lie. Remember? They told us that they lie. How do you sit there and you tell people that you went to classes on how to lie, but when you say something, you want them to believe it's the truth and not a lie? I've never liked Pompeo. It's never been my choice. Christopher Dobby, thank you for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. U.S. controls SWIFT. Remember, Russia said it's war if they were locked out. This is why other countries roll over. This is why.
Yeah.
This is why.
But they need to stop rolling over.
Yeah. The Democrats need
we're
to stop
bullies.
rolling over.
Well,
The
yeah.
progressives need to stop rolling over.
Well, no, I mean, other countries need to stop rolling over to the U.S.'s whim. Because, I'm not, what, like there was an idiot the other day on Twitter saying, well, a U.S. dictatorship is better than any other dictatorship. And then this person calls himself a leftist neoliberal, which...
It's a power
I'm
vacuum,
just like,
fam.
what is a leftist neoliberal? Anyway.
If we don't have American dictator, a power vacuum
They've
will
been
happen.
watching
You want a
too
power
much
vacuum?
Vaush
We
or
need
whatever.
to spread democracy. That's what the left has become. That's what the fact that the squad has been silent on Julian Assange.
They're not left, though. That's the
Cowards.
thing. They're
You're
not.
not.
They think
You're a
they're
bunch of
left, but they're
cowards.
not. They're a bunch of fucking
AOC
centrists.
with your little speech over there. You know what I'm saying? Your little freaking virtuality cloak you're wearing over there. Kiss my butt. You know what I'm saying?
How different could it be,
Virtuous-
Pastor?
virtu-
How different could it be? The whole squad could be criticizing Nancy Pelosi,
Yeah.
Schumer. What else? Okay, they could pull in. They could be making alliances with Ron and Rand
They could be
Paul.
saying that we're not voting for Joe Biden.
We're not voting
We're
for
not
Joe
gonna do
Biden.
that. We're not going to play
We
the no
like
thing.
Gloria Lariva.
They could have been that way. They could have
Bernie
questioned
could say
every
the
single
same
one. They could
thing.
have made a stand on the CARES Act. All of them. All of them.
Bernie
If
could
Bernie,
say the same
Elizabeth
thing.
was where they're supposed to be, the squad.
But
Gaia
they
Paul,
don't.
all
They
of
don't,
them.
Pasta, because they don't have any power. Because they give up their power.
They gave it up.
Because guess what? AOC could literally have an army of people, of people outside in D.C., of people going to their senators and their congressmen, yelling at them. There could be an armies. Bernie could send armies. But this is why you don't rely on electoral politics alone, and this is why you don't rely on politicians, because they're going to disappoint you every single time. This has to be, she even said it there, but she twisted it. This isn't about politics. This is about the people. But the people don't have to stand up and vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
No, you
They
fucking
could
moron.
also
The
be-
people
They
have
did
to
what they
stand
were
up
supposed to do. They
and
failed.
do the opposite.
They
And
could
you
also
have to
be-
go outside the electorate.
They could, outside the electorate. They could also be out on the streets, right? Like
Right.
Absolutely.
They
Shah
could be
Mr.
out on the
Want.
streets leading
Like Shah Mr. Want.
general strikes.
Leading general
Can
strikes.
you look for John Boehner crying? I mean, just look for that really quick, Johnny, because
Fam.
that, I mean, that's you just got to look. They got their own member in the friggin' White House.
That's
ladies and
not going to
gentlemen.
happen with Democrats.
I know, it's just so stupid. It's
not.
This is what we were thinking would happen. This is when we thought we would get our side, our left. This guy was crying, man. He was crying. He was the Speaker of the House in a Republican-controlled House. The Tea Party got in there. They kicked people out. That was their movement. They're people from the streets, and they got what they want. They pressured him so much that this son of a bitch cried and left and quit.
Yesterday was a wonderful day. It really was. And was I emotional yesterday? I think I was. I was really emotional in a moment that really no one saw. As the Pope and I were getting ready to exit the building, we found ourselves alone. And the Pope grabbed my left arm and said some very kind words to me about my commitment to kids and education. And the Pope puts his arm around me and kind of pulls me to him and says, "Please pray for me." Well, who am I to pray for the Pope? But I did.
Dude, there's so many videos of this guy at interviews. He's crying. He resigned. He couldn't get anything done because that Tea Party was like, no, John, we're not playing by your rules anymore. I was when we were putting AOC in there, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, we thought we were going to see the same exact thing, and they didn't. Instead, they started calling her Mama Bear and were silent about Julian Assange.
And fuck the Mama Bear shit, because that doesn't even matter to me. Call her whatever you want. But it's the actions of and the lack thereof, the actions that they haven't done at all to oppose this party. I mean, to really, really oppose the party, to really oppose the intelligence state, to really oppose the military-industrial complex. They haven't. The foreign policy has been terrible, and there has been literally no talk about Julian Assange. Zero from the progressives. So there's no point in defending AOC. AOC, in a few years, the people defending her and the people trashing third parties are going to realize it, just like the people back then did with Obama. And it's going to be too late by then, because we don't have time anymore for people to realize their fucking bullshit, for people to realize to stop putting these politicians in this celebratory status, to stop praising them to the point where they become like these deities instead of literally just public servants.
Anthony asked, does everybody in Russia have health insurance? I don't even think they have insurance. I think they have socialized health. Democracy says, great work, fam. Respect. Glory Jones says, I won't trash talk. You're not playing Islanders. But if you ask, I shall deliver pasta. You're now not playing Islanders. Yeah, I get it. We went to the Eastern Conference Final with a bunch of young guys. Barzy. Remember.
Yeah, and you got
Barzy
me the wrong
2020.
shirt, so I'm upset.
Stop. Thoughts on how Kyle Kalinske said abortion might be abolished now?
He's wrong. That's my thoughts.
Great work, my brothers and sisters. That's Wallace West.
It's fear-mongering.
Democracy asked, thank you for that super chat contribution, by the way, Wallace West. It's always appreciated on the couch. Another super chat contribution coming from Democracy said, would the Convo Couch run for office one day? As a group or individuals? What do you want? You know? I'm going to run for class president.
Possibly.
We never know.
We never know.
I mean, with Adam Schiff out there,
when they do
I'm
me
not
like
running
RFK
for the Democratic
and JFK,
Party, I'll tell you that much.
When they do me like RFK or JFK or MLK,
dude, I am never running as a Democrat though either. By the way, Johnny, I don't know about you, but I'm done with that bullshit. That's strategically we got to bullshit. No, and we're going to continue to fight for elections to pull the curtains behind election integrity. We have to have fair and transparent elections. Once we can do that, we don't have to play by the Democratic rules. But in a Democratic Party and in a Democratic primary, you got to play by their rules, and their rules include picking whoever they want.
People need to literally overthrow the system because it's not working. It's not working, and you're not going to get fair elections by voting for them because their elections aren't fair, so you can't vote for them. Do you see what I'm saying? It's a circle. You can't do it. You have to get out of that loop in order to actually change it.
I just got to say, I love Fred Hampton's ghost in our chat. Just saying.
Because he's Fred Hampton's
I love the name, and I don't know. He was saying some cool shit before.
Kyle Kalinske is transitioning.
He or she or they.
Transitioning to a lesser evilist.
I called it a long time ago, you guys. I don't know why people are surprised by this, but it's unfortunate. But it happens when you like what is it? Was it the Justice Democrats? The same shit. It's the same shit. These people. That's why I'm weirded out by these PACs, because even if they have good intentions, they have to have a board and all this crap, and then you don't really know who's in control. And I really am for co-ops, and I want to find a way for us to get there as well.
Shin Sung asked, Convo Couch, what makes you think that abortion won't be banned? And Gamer for Life even said Roe vs. Wade might be overturned. Fam, what are your thoughts on that? You said no, but
no.
I mean,
because this is fear-mongering, because we've had a conservative Supreme Court majority for the last decade. What are we talking about? Where are you getting that it's going to be overturned? Who's saying that? Liberals are saying that. It's these the neoliberals in the establishment are saying, oh my God, you have to vote for Biden because, oh my God, the Supreme Court's going to overturn Roe v. Wade, and then it's going to be this fascism. We're already living in fascism. We can't even say the things we need to say in a lot of places because you get shut down. They're shutting leftist accounts left and right on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Julian Assange is in prison. We're already living in dystopian fascism. People just don't see it that way because maybe it hasn't directly affected them, but you just wait until it directly affects you. As a woman who believes in abortion, I wouldn't personally want one necessarily, but I want to have the choice to have one. And I believe in separating religious ideology from a person's personal choice. Sure, it is a big deal to me, but I am under no impression that Roe v. Wade is going to be suddenly overturned just because we have a Supreme Court justice, which, by the way, Trump is appointing a woman, he says, because he's throwing it in the neoliberals' faces. Look, I'm appointing a woman. Don't you guys want gender equality? That's what he's doing. This is all a charade. This is all theatrics, just like it is with Iran and the sanctions, just like it is right now. We do performance theater, and we use it to fearmonger people into once again saying, well, we have to vote for this shit sandwich and not this one because this one's a little bit better. No, it's bullshit. They're fear-mongering you, and I'm just so sick and tired of people using that, especially to manipulate the emotions of people and make them think that, oh my God, this is going to overturn it. No, they would have to go against the will of everybody, of all these people, to overturn Roe v. Wade. It would have been done a long time ago, and Roe v. Wade is already avoids third trimester abortions anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't protect them.
Fred Hampton's Ghost says, we can't overthrow unless we get seriously organized. Spontaneous protests aren't enough. Thanks for the shout out. That was from Fred Hampton's Ghost.
I agree.
So.
There needs to be more organization.
All power to the people.
Yeah.
For sure.
I am a proletariat. I am the people.
I am the people.
I am
not the pig. I am the people. I am a revolutionist.
Revolutionary.
Revolutionary.
I like when he takes the cards out and he says, reason why we can't get together is because there's two classes. This class over here and that class over here. And this class was always caught up in itself because it says, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Chinese. And if you stop for a second and use some common sense, unlike this character, this pig, Hammerhand we talking about, then they can't be bought and can't be broken. He's one of the best, man. There's a reason why they killed him at 21 years old. Guys, that's 92 minutes of a show. I think that's it, right?
I think I saw the real Sebastian Montoya in here, so I'm just going to say, what up, Sebastian?
We love Sebastian Montoya. We love you, Sebastian Seabass. And my other friend, Sebastian. Happy birthday to my mom, Joan. Today she is years old, and we want to say happy birthday to her. We love you.
Happy birthday.
I hope you like the flowers.
Happy birthday.
You know, I love you, Mama. And that means a year ago today was when I was first on the Jimmy Dore show, actually. So that was a year ago today.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a year.
Wow, it's been a year.
It's been a year. That was my mom's birthday. I got to say happy birthday to her. And that's that. So anything else, guys, before we get on out of here?
Nope.
All right, guys. Shut up, Fred Edwards. Don't you ever call Fred Hampton a shill. We want to thank our Patreons. We got 122 of you over there for joining, signing up, helping us out. We also want to thank you if you're signed up on our ROKFIN, ROKFIN. We had a decent amount of people over on ROKFIN today. We still want to get a little bit more. Fam likes to have 20. We only had 14. So we want to build that up. Unacceptable by Fam. But we did have over 300 watchers today on the YouTube. We want to thank you guys for putting us in place, for being able to do what we got to do. But we still need your help because there's a lot more stuff going on. So if you can help us out, please do. ROKFIN, subscribe. Patreon, if you can help out a couple bucks a month. It always helps out. There's a lot of things we're talking about going in to see. And with this election coming up, we got to get out there and follow it because it's going to be kind of interesting in 44 days from now. Where do we go from here is the song I keep singing to myself. Where do we go from here? The progressive movement, the Democratic Party, the Green Party, the Libertarians, the Republican Party, the Trumpers, all this stuff going on. Where do we go from after this election? Because if, in fact, Donald Trump does win re-election, what do the progressives have to do to get going? Because there's a big divide, a big separation between them, so we have to see and pay attention to see what these groups are like. I think they need to listen to each other. I think they need to get in a room. They need to work out their differences and come together, because when you come behind the populist movements on the left, we can't ignore our civil liberties, the thing I'm talking about all the time right now, fam, right? It's been ignored by too many people on the left. And look what happens with Julian Assange. Look how it's, if you shoot the messengers, look what they're doing in the streets as you're protesting police brutality. It's all connected. We know somebody. Them. You were saying, Johnny?
They're grabbing them off the streets.
I mean, come on. This is like, you didn't pay attention to Julian Assange.
Posting bail. There's a guy who's been in jail for a month now who can't pay bail.
Or you pay attention to Julian Assange and you somehow dismiss the police as them doing their jobs and riots and looting, when that's not necessarily the majority of the case. And how can you defend the police state here if the bosses of the little police state, the military industrial complex and the intelligence agencies are doing this to Julian Assange? You can't cherry pick. Yeah. You have to either support the people standing up against the corruption of the state, the whistleblowers, the people filming cops doing the corrupt things they're doing, or You don't support that. You can't cherry pick, oh, my First Amendment here, this, there. No, it has to be across the board. I'm sick and tired of that bullshit happening from the likes of some YouTubers who go in there and talk about the rioting narrative when that's not the fucking case. And I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Don't you have a group of yours, a friend of yours group that was taken down from different Facebook's group, different pages taken down?
Oh, yeah. Multiple people now.
I mean, that's, once again, when we talked about the civil liberties, I mean, I know somebody in that group over there said, oh, well, you're talking about foreign policy and civil liberties? This guy sounds like a Trumper. Hello, it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. We have a close friend of ours who's got a huge group taken down. And to all those people that we were saying to them, guys, you got to pay attention to this right now. You got to pay attention to censorship. If we let this shit go now, they're going to censor you eventually. You think just because they're censoring Alex Jones, they'll get to you. Hold my beer is what they're saying. And they're getting to you, and now they're doing it to you. They're shutting out your voices. The agreements on YouTube and all these other places and Twitter is that you can't talk about, it says you cannot mislead people on election integrity, on election fraud and stuff. You can't mislead people, only your message gets to go out there while they silence everybody else. Thank you for the super chat sticker. Thank you, Sebastian Montoya.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're going to get on out of here. Thank you all once again for Pasta Jardula.
Fiorella.
Johnny Sue on those 1s and 2s over there.
Combo out. Bye, guys.
Oh, power to the people.